be recording also?
Yes.
This meeting is being recorded.
Over to you, Nandini ma'am.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Dr. Nandini Beswas, and on behalf of Mangalam University, I welcome you all to today's webinar on a very, very interesting topic, which is self-worth in times of transition. Now, I want to tell our dear audience here present here today that transition is a natural constant. Each moment, we all are going through some transition or the other. But then there are times when these transitions are highly salient in our lives. For instance, when you will be starting college, or when you will be starting work, or when there is a big occasion in your family. Well, these are big changes, and psychologists call these as developmental goals. These are times that are very exciting, but these are also times when you may be a bit stressed, since there will be too many demands placed on you at the same time. Therefore, you may need extra resources to cope with the extra demands. And that is why we are having this webinar today, how to maintain and improve self-worth in times of transitions. For the students from class 12 who are with us today in this webinar, now you are facing a very big transition in your life, which is starting college. So this webinar, I believe, will be very useful for you all. And to discuss this topic and help us gain a lot of insights on how to deal with transitions and self-worthy, I have with me today the eminent speaker, Ms. Monaa Varghab. Ms. Varghab is a multi-talented personality, my dear students. She is an internationally certified global career counselor from the University of California, Los Angeles, and Univariety, Singapore. She is an author, storyteller, self-tutored psychologist, and an edupreneur. Ma'am has more than a decade of experience, and over her complete career span, she had been a play school principal, corporate executive, curriculum coordinator for ALS series of Apple Inc., besides many other assignments that she has very successfully handled. Her multiple functions comprised of working in operations, recruiting, training, print and online content development, project management, counseling, event management, and brand building for many years. These days, ma'am manages her own firm by the name of Vinand, which provides career counseling, coaching, and self-skills development classes for students and professionals. So welcome you, ma'am, to this webinar, and over to you for this session with our students.
Thank you so much, Nandini ma'am, for these kind words. I hope I'm audible.
Yes, ma'am, you are audible.
Okay. So you gave a very befitting start to this very delicate topic that we would be discussing today, because of all the situations that have been presented to us in the last 2 years. You very rightly mentioned that because of the pandemic, a lot of people, just not students, but a lot of people from all different walks of life have been going through some or the other transition, which is change, and how they are letting that change see the worst of them and not letting them become valuable for their own selves is what we will be discussing. So self-worth is a very delicate topic, because self-worth is the most fragile thing that can break in no time. So if that is sad and bad news, we have a good news also, because it is the thing that can be built back again. And how we can build it back again is what we will be discussing. So anybody who's our audience here, from school going children to like how you mentioned, students going into college, or maybe a young mother who's wanting to join back work, or corporates and leaders wanting to again go to work and be in the midst of the employees, how they will transition from this so-called abnormal situation back into normalcy. So let us start and let us see what all we will be discussing today. So we will try and know what is self-worth and what is transition, why we have a low self-worth, then some examples of self-reproach as to what we do to ourselves. How should we build self-worth, which is going to be done with a new model called the ABC model, and how to maintain some tips on maintaining self-worth and energizing our days. So, but let us start with a small little quiz. Let us see if our audience is able to identify the situation that our so-called models are in. So Anna is sitting on a couch in a lobby waiting to be called for her interview. She appears calm and composed, but desperately trying inside to manage her anxiety. And she is unable to stop the thoughts that are racing through her head, because she's constantly thinking, what if I say the wrong thing to the interviewer? How will they see me in the right light? And I may just blow it all up. So she is around those feelings of anxiety. Now, what is she struggling with? I would want you all to use the Zoom chat and give us an answer. Just say Anna and what is she struggling with? While you will be thinking about this, let us see our second person, who is John. So he wakes up at 11 on a Saturday morning, like right now, some minutes ago, and he's lying in his bed and he's thinking about going straight to the gym to make sure he gets a workout today. But suddenly a dark feeling creeps over him and he says that, no, I don't want to go. And he's already lost the battle. He rolls over and sleeps. Maybe just misses this webinar also. So what is our dear John struggling with? You can again write in the Zoom chat, John dash, what is he struggling with? The third person who we have is Molly. So Molly sits with her friends at a restaurant and they're all discussing the prospect of Bitcoin. Now, what is Bitcoin? Molly has no idea. Now, her friends are throwing around terminologies and jargon, and she feels very, very mortified because she knows nothing about investment. And she has a feeling they're all smart than she is, which is, what is she struggling with? And last but not the least, we have Andy. So he receives his 6-month evaluation at his new job. Hears his boss say the words that your skills with Excel need improvement. And after that, the minute he's told by his boss that he's going on some training, he doesn't hear the rest of the feedback, because he's thinking, I might just well quit because my boss doesn't like me. And obviously this job is not the right fit for me. So what is our dear Andy struggling with? Now, if anybody in the participants know exactly what Anna is feeling, they can just type it and let us know. Otherwise, we are going to just move ahead and tell you what Anna is struggling with. Clearly, Anna is struggling with self-confidence. She does not have the confidence. She does not feel she can do well in the interview. So she is struggling with low self-confidence. John is majorly struggling with self-worth because he does not attach any value to his life or to his being. So he is struggling with a greater thing than Anna is struggling with. Molly is struggling with self-esteem because she is assigning small things like knowledge about ideas or about events to her esteem and she's thinking that she's not good enough. So she is struggling with self-esteem. And what is Andy struggling with? Andy is struggling with self-knowledge because he is also attaching his worth to things like, oh my God, I don't have the ability to impress my boss. Oh, I don't have Excel abilities. That's why I'm being sent on a training. So clearly, we see a very wide difference between these things, which people sometimes confuse their so-called state with. So if we know exactly that, okay, what am I really struggling with today? Then if you name it, you will be able to tame it. So let's see if we are today struggling with self-confidence, or is my self-worth low, or do I need to work on my self-esteem, or maybe read and improve my knowledge. Now, but it doesn't end there. What happens is we have so many ways by which we harm ourselves. So first, so that we don't harm ourselves, let's understand what is self-worth. Nandini ma'am, would you like to throw some light on this?
Self-worth is how we place ourselves in our own eyes. The word says the self-worth. How do we look at myself? Do I think that I'm good enough? Do I think that I have it in me to get along in the world? Do I think that I have the right knowledge? Do I think that people like me? I can impress people. So every moment we are actually going about the world with a sense of how good we are. And that's vitally important for everything that we do. That's vitally important for happiness in our lives.
Perfect. So I really liked what you said, that how we see ourselves in our own eyes. I really, resonate with that thought. And, Dr. Sears also said such a beautiful thing. He says, today you are you. That is truer than true. There is no one alive who's youer than you. So it is so much about we tuning into our own selves for our self-worth, because we are the ones who have to value ourselves. Now, since you started the conversation very rightly, that there are so many times there is a change in life, right? So in that moment, ma'am, when there is a transition, okay, when there is a change, the first thing that gets affected is either the self-worth goes in a bigger way to a brighter side, which is positive, but somewhere it goes into the negative spiral and creates a lot of problems for that person, right? So what is transition actually? It comes with its set of challenges. It comes with its difference in situations, in trying for us to reach a certain destination, which we feel is difficult, like how now everybody, when they will go back to their respective jobs or college, they will have some kind of social anxiety. They will have some kind of, basically how to tide over some difficult situations. So transition is so important if we understand that this is a process. It is not something that we can overcome in a minute. It is a process for which we really need to build a robust life state. With this, we come to a very important concept called how we start eroding our self-worth. It doesn't get eroded in one day. Like for all those 4 students, Andy, Molly, Anna, and John, it was not getting eroded for that particular time moment. I mean, if John was laying in bed and not wanting to move, he let his self-worth erode for over a period of time by having some kind of unwanted thoughts around his value system. So this little statue in Berlin is such a beautiful reminder that how our unwanted thoughts, which are not very constructive in nature, can make us feel very, very burdened. And we cannot overcome these, and we get into a negative spiral, and we feel that that is our state going forward. So let's see. Worthiness, if we can see, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will cripple my pitifully fragile sense of self-worth. That's why I said it's a very delicate topic. These days, ma'am, I mean, when we were young, we had nothing called the internet. We did not know that how are we being validated, right? We got our validation from our teacher in the form of good grades and a star, golden star, or, a nice report card. Our parents used to give us some nice kind words. But our students are looking for validation on social media. How many likes they are receiving on their post, whether their reel is being appreciated, are they getting good comments? So they are letting the words of others cripple their self, so that is why it becomes thin. Your worth is thinning out because of the algorithms the social feeds have and the feedbacks you receive. You are just letting that affect you and your particular psyche, and you are allowing yourself to be dictated or given a so-called label by them. So any hurtful and hateful comment, you will continue to think about it. And you will start, over a period of time, you will start believing that, oh, that is who I am, because they are thinking me to be that person. So this is what is eroding our self-worth and thinning it out. And the questions then never stop, because will I ever be loved or liked by people around me? Can I ever define myself without being verified? Like all the time, I need somebody to say, hey, you are good, someone to endorse us. So we get into a questioning mode, which is a self-sabotaging mode, that every time there is no say from my own self that I'm good. I'll only be looking at others and waiting for their approval. Okay. Whether my friends think high of me or not. And will I earn enough? One of the most pertinent questions that, these youngsters rest their worthiness on, because they don't call it self-worth, they call it net worth, and they're constantly thinking that, oh my God, my success quotient will only go high if my net worth is high. So they're constantly battling with that particular thought that, am I going to make it big in life? So these are all the things that, oh, this is one of the most important things that most girls or even boys these days face, this obesity issue. Okay. And obviously, let's not miss out on some looks, freckles, acne, and those are the problems which really, for that time period, really lower your worthiness. Then, ma'am, there are some other reasons also. Once I came across a boy saying, I don't feel very good introducing my parents to my friends because they don't have very respectable professions. So how they are letting their self-worth again be valued by the so-called designation of the parents, right? Now, these are all the reasons we need to really look into and see if I fall in any one of these categories. But there are some more reasons wherein it doesn't let us climb these stairs and have a high self-worth, So, ma'am, have you ever come across anyone like who's struggling with accepting oneself?
Yes, ma'am, I have quite a number of times come across students or even general persons who have dealt with issues of self-acceptance. Sometimes, I have come across people who have actually struggled over issues, self-worth issues arising from materialistic positions, like what kind of clothes do I have? Sometimes we come across this in the college also, or the car that I drive. मेरी पापा की तो छोटी गाड़ी है, or I drive a smaller vehicle. My friends have such big vehicles. So they struggle with self-acceptance, the dress that they wear, they feel that these are not trendy enough.
Amazing, absolutely. And then there is another thing, because when they don't believe in what they have is enough, they feel that they cannot be made feel special. Like how can they feel special because they don't have the best? Say everything is related to the best that there is. So mediocrity has taken such a, I would say, central part in their thinking process, that they do not feel that what they have is good enough. They always feel that what others have. So one very important point that we will be talking about is perceived inadequacy. And this happens, why? Because you're constantly evaluating yourself against someone else. Like how you said, my car isn't big enough. So obviously they are eyeing somebody else's car that is big enough and they're giving themselves a lower self-worth by saying, I don't value myself as much as that person because that person has a greater amount of material wealth to display. So the perceived inadequacy is a major reason for self-worth. Also, comparison, which is the reason why we feel inadequate at all times. Ma'am, any light you would want to throw on procrastination and how that creates a low self-worth?
Yes, ma'am, it so frequently happens, and it must have happened with all of us, especially before the exams. Okay, we just don't want to tackle that big monster that has to be tackled at some point in time or the other. So we keep on procrastinating, thinking that yes, probably I'll start the studies tomorrow, I'll start preparing tomorrow, or maybe I'll submit my assignment the next week.
Yes.
But the teacher is asking you to submit the assignment by tomorrow is the deadline. Teacher also has a deadline to meet.
Right.
And then you find that all of your friends have submitted their assignment, they have prepared well for the exam, or the exam is tomorrow, you're not prepared enough. Then that starts affecting your self-worth or self-esteem. You start believing that probably I'm not good enough. That's why I'm not keeping up with the timelines. I'm not keeping up with the demands of the university.
Very nice, very well. And then again, once you feel like this, then you can constantly think on the same lines because you haven't really defeated that one thought that has come and stayed with you. Very, very right.
Definitely.
And then when things don't go your way because you receive a wrong or maybe a remark from your teacher, then you feel a little bit of letdown. You feel humiliation. Your emotions completely take over your body. And then you say, well, now it's all right. Since I've received this, then I might as well not do anything about it. So we go into a negative spiral of an event leading to a certain consequence, and that consequence creating a belief system around your thinking, and then again a negative thought, and then that spiral continues. Perfect. So and that is because you feel invalidated. Now so let us see how I for myself, if I want to see that what is it that I can see I have as a slice, in the pie chart of my self-worth. So for example, if I'm talking about somebody who is constantly thinking and not valuing herself because she is fat, okay, so her pie chart will only have major part of worry on that particular aspect, and she's going to give little importance to other parts. So if we can see this, the person with an eating disorder will say, I don't have the ability to control eating, shape and weight. So her pie chart will have almost 75% of that. And she will give very little to her family and friends and studies and loyalty. On the other hand, a person who has no eating disorder will be able to balance her life so nicely. She will probably bring in sense of humor. She will bring in some future goals and some sport also, physical activity and a job. So her body shape isn't occupying the major part of her worry. And this is how we can actually today look at, see what are the slices in the pie chart of my self-worth. What all am I including that is making me valuable in my own eyes? Okay. So this is one exercise that I'm urging all the young students and our people who are viewing this to do. It'll help you identify what you are spending your time on, because that probably will not be the best time that you are spending your thoughts over. So let us analyze. Let's analyze why this happens. Okay, ma'am, just stay with me here. So first, self-reproach. Okay, so what do we do? Reproach is shame, blame, disgrace, disapproval, and a disrespectful attitude towards yourself, right? How we saw that those two girls and two boys were doing this, shame is one of the biggest things that doesn't let us come out of our shell. Blame is very easily shifting our complacency onto others. Disgrace, disapproval, we have already spoken about. So when we are under reproach, our behavior shows it. Okay, so how our behavior shows it, we can figure it out by answering these 4 questions. So I had a student. Okay, so I asked that student, and I'm just discussing a little case study here. So so this student of mine in one phase was very scared about going into a crowded situation. Okay, because he was very wary of the fact that now people are going to size him up. So when I asked him, okay, why are you so scared to go into a situation, into a social milieu? So he said, no, I don't want to be here. I don't want to go there. So I tried to analyze his thoughts by asking him these questions. So I said, okay, you don't want to be there because. So he said, ma'am, I don't want to be there because people will look at me and know that I'm depressed. So his first self-reproaching thought was that he was thinking in his head that he is depressed. He had given himself to believing that he was depressed. So then I asked him, I said, okay, so that is bad because, okay, you are thinking that people will know that you're depressed. So, and that is bad. Why? Because, so he answered, well, ma'am, they will think something is wrong with me. Okay. So, and what is so bad about that? I asked him. So he said, they will think I'm crazy. Now, it is not an easy emotion to deal with. For a boy who wants to be isolated, doesn't want to go mix up with people, it's because he is self-reproaching. His reproach is disgrace, his shame. He's thinking that he's really crazy. And then I asked, okay, so what does that say about you? Because are you letting yourself be governed by this thought that they don't have for you, but you have for your own self? So then he said, well, I must be crazy, ma'am. Right? So this is what we do when we think about something which is untrue, when we constantly harp over it and we create so many permutations and combinations around the ifs, because this is clearly a nested if situation. If I do this, then this will happen. And why is that bad? Because of this. And why is that again bad? Because they will think this about me. So they are constantly keeping them on the spotlight and feeling a certain way. So what happens in the end? They want to run away from this situation, right? They want to avoid this situation. So when we want to not avoid and we want to take control, we just have to remember 2 things. So it's all for everybody who's really into this zone where you are dealing with something and you are unable to control it. So you please remember that there are 2 things that you can control, 2 things, and 100% control. The first is, ask yourself, who am I becoming? Am I becoming actually crazy? Like that boy was thinking, he wasn't. Am I becoming actually underconfident by giving myself so many unwanted thoughts and sabotaging my self-worth? Am I becoming angry because I have unexpressed emotions within my body? So if you answer this question by writing it down as to who you are becoming, you can become better. You can say, I will not become who I am becoming. I will change the course. I will take a U-turn. And the second thing that we have control over is, what is my next choice? So if I am actually becoming angry or resentful because of a so-called situation where my boss thought I should go for a training program because I don't clearly have the ability, then I could say, well, I have good skills, but my boss wants me to hone them better, to become great at it. So what is my next choice? How am I looking at it from a perspective which is not harming me? So let me not be in the harm's way. When we do this, then we come across, okay, so let us see what all we have covered. We've covered what is transition, what is self-worth. We have covered some of the reasons of self-worth. and examples of reproach with that student of mine. Now let us see how we can figure our own self-reproaching attitude by this model, wherein I'll need your need your help. So let's do an activity, okay? See, everybody at some point in time, because of interaction with the other person, allows the other person to affect ourselves and become what they actually do not even want us to become, but what we allow ourselves to become. Okay, so let us see this. So this is a model called ABC model. So we are going to do today an ABC analysis. Okay, so the A stands for activate event. So we will all have to think of one such event in our life that is not very pleasant. B is the belief system around that, and C will be consequences. Okay. So, ma'am, if we start, if you can think of, some student of yours, like how I took up a case study, just tell me if there was some student, who got irked because of something unpleasant. Let's take that.
Yes. So something very interesting came up just yesterday. A student walked into my room and he was clearly agitated. So I asked him, "What's wrong? You look flushed." So he said, "Ma'am, I was walking to the canteen and then I met some of my friends who I consider to be my good friends. And this is my first day at the university. So I was feeling so happy to see them and I wanted to greet them. So I waved at them, but it seemed that they totally ignored me. They just walked past me.
Okay.
I had been, so he was very agitated about it. He came into my room and said, "Does that mean, ma'am, they do not like me anymore? And that everything has changed during this lockdown period?"
Okay, so ma'am, let's just stick to just the event. Okay, the event is probably he was irked because they did not greet him back. They didn't wave back at him. Okay, so when we think of an activate event, we just record the event as the video camera records it, just without attaching any of our thoughts to it. Okay, so let's hold the fact that how he became aggressive and what he felt. We will take it in the next step, but it was just this, that he felt very angry and disappointed. Okay, so let's say that the event is actually the friends did not wave back at him. That is the event. Now, when we talk of the consequences are like how you said, an emotion enters the body. Okay, now the emotion that entered his body, and you have said he looked agitated to you, and he said that, "Do they not like me?" Okay, so he did not feel liked and loved. Okay, or maybe accepted by them. That's a very huge emotion to feel. Okay, because you're very excited and you're waiting to greet your friends. Okay, so he clearly so if I may ask you, can you, on behalf of your student, actually tell me the level of his the intensity of his emotion, whether on a scale of 0 to 10, how angry and how disappointed was he?
I think he was quite disappointed from the look on his face. I feel I should place that value at 8 on a scale of 10.
Oh, wow. Okay. So clearly he allowed the emotions to get into his body. Okay. So now the anger automatically made him come to you in a state where was he restless? Did you see anything in his body which was telling you that he clearly needs some kind of intervention?
Yeah, he looked quite restless. He was actually fidgeting.
It was
It appeared to me that he might even leave the college because he felt that he was not wanted there anymore.
Okay, ma'am. That's very nice of you to tell me. So see, the feelings that he is feeling is all about self-worth, because he thinks that his friends do not value him, they have not recognized him, and so he doesn't have anything to do in the college. He's willing to leave the college, right? Okay, now let's see what happened with him actually. And if you will continue telling me what happened, then we'll be able to figure out his real belief system. Okay. So the second thing is that his thoughts immediately were, because he had come prepared with being greeted nicely, being accepted. So his expectations were of being accepted by his friends, and his thoughts were some very nice reunion, some hug, some smile, some kind of a good feeling around it. And his perception was that probably their eyes would be looking for him and would be wanting to see him. And his attitude was, oh well, he will be called and he will be waved at, so he had those beliefs that he started out with. Then ma'am, if you were to ask your student, or probably since you've spoken, you did he think of one thing, just one thing? Everything else is an emotion or a feeling, but the one trigger, what was that one trigger that he was thinking when the event occurred?
Well, I clearly had this feeling that he thought that maybe I'm not good enough for them. Maybe he must have had this thought running in his head that I'm not good enough for them. I'm not worthy to be loved by people. And that's why they have forgotten me in such a short while.
Yeah. Also, if we just go with what the pandemic pause has done to these youngsters, when they are isolated, they lose touch. They are not meeting that often. They are evolving in their own ways because of their own situations, because of their own family conditions, right? And with whatever is happening with them, which they are unable to deal with, each person is growing in a different direction. They're branching out in different ways and different directions. So the first thing of invalidation can make you feel that you are now probably not in the zone of being befriended, right? So very nice. So now let us look at the flip side. Okay, I'm sure in trying to appease him, you would have definitely said something like, whatever his name is, say, let's just say he's Robin. So Robin, are you really, is it really true that they ignored you? I mean, why are you having that feeling? It could be that they're in that thought and they've not seen you, but you are thinking that they've seen you. So ma'am, did you ask our dear Robin some such thing?
Yes,
The
yes,
flip
I
side of
definitely, yeah, I definitely asked him that could it be possible that your friends were busy at the time, that they might be rushing for their class, or they might have some pending documentation work at the registrar's office. That
right.
was probably their first day at the university also. Did you consider that possibility?
Wonderful. I'm so glad you counseled him really nicely, ma'am. So now this is the flip side of the thought process that starts at the trigger of the event and doesn't let us think rationally. So when we do that, then we can associate with the counter thoughts. Oh yeah, I mean, how can I just presume and assume and not even go and strike a dialogue? Dialogue is so powerful. What if tomorrow he just goes and meets them and they actually greet him the way he was expecting? And all this is then nothing but his imagination, his assumption, on which he is devaluing his own self, right? So,
Absolutely.
so this, and for no fault of the friends, this boy has formed a hot thought in his mind, and this becomes his belief system that I am not good enough for them, right? This is how we get into self-reproach. And now if he will be asked, okay, now what is your thought when you're thinking that probably that is not the case? Ma'am, then what do you think his aggression level would have been?
Actually, after he spoke to me, we spoke for about 40 minutes. He seemed quite pacified and calm. And when he left the room, I think that agitation has left his body and mind. And at that point in time, if you ask me to rate his emotions on a scale of 10, I would rather put it at 3.
Lovely. See how just seeing or showing a flip side of something that is in the mind of the person who is at that point constructing beliefs around his own life, how those beliefs can come crashing. Because we have been conditioned to formulate our beliefs from our past knowledge, our environment, the events, the triggering events, and our some so-called results and our future vision. So the same belief system can immediately be nipped in the bud, which we would have formed. And had he not come to you, Nandini ma'am, if he wouldn't have come and if he would have gone back home, he would have probably not gotten in touch with those friends, and he would have kept harping on the same belief of not being good enough. And it would have become a solid belief in his life that he's somewhere lost his charm or his value or his intelligence, right? So this is how we can analyze a lot which is going on in our lives. So the key takeaway is think of the flip side before you formulate and solidify a so-called belief in your life. Thank you so much for giving me that little perspective. So then, what was clearly happening with our so-called Robin? He was eroding his own self-worth. So this Robin has to silence his own inner critic, which is something which we keep hearing in our head. So stop comparing yourself to others and evaluating your every move. Stop deciding what they think about you until and unless they tell you. So just silence your inner critic, which is one of the most important things that we will have to do. The minute we find ourselves going into that spiral, we'll have to say, hey, hello, check, mic testing. That's the key word here. Mic testing 1 2 3. No, I am not going to let the inner critic decide for myself. I will decide. So because the inner voice is it's like a nasty coach in our heads. It's constantly nagging us with destructive thoughts. Okay. And the second thing that we can do is what our dear Robin probably would have done is forget your old story, whatever you thought, whatever you believed in, whatever you constructed. You constructed that story. Okay. So forget that old story and please do not continue to suffer, because he was clearly suffering for those 30 minutes, ma'am, when he was with you. Okay. That he was wanting to leave the college. So acknowledge and notice your suffering. And if your suffering has gone into your body as feelings, then those feelings will turn into moods, and moods will stay with you for a very long period of time, right? So forgetting the old story is the second way of stopping the erosion of self-worth. And then we have to be kind and caring in response to our suffering, right? It's all right. I can go and talk to my friends. Maybe they are really struggling with their own emotions. Maybe there is something grave in their lives that they need me for. And I've not even checked that. And I'm on my own trip. And then we have to remember that everybody is imperfect, everyone, they also have their own sets of things that they're dealing with. So when we do this, then we can actually stop the erosion. Now, when we stop the erosion, we need to build it on. And once we will build, then we will maintain. So now let's see how we will be building the self-worth. Okay. And I can see the big smile on your face because yes, I'm going to be talking about the mirror therapy here. So clearly it starts with the first thing, which is love yourself. How the person that you are seeing in the mirror, if you believe in the person, if you value the person, if you actually have the courage to say to yourself in the mirror that, hey, I love you, I like you, and you're good, and you're going to have a good day, it will all come true because you clearly want all the best things to happen to you because you like the person in the mirror that you're seeing. So for that, we need to practice self-compassion, because if you're self-critical, how can we love ourselves? Right? So if we are critical, then we'll keep beating. Hey, you could have done better. Hey, you didn't do this assignment well. Hey, all those negativities will come. But if we practice self-compassion, then we will have a beautiful beautiful outlook to our own selves. So this is this very nice acronym, which is COAL. So let us have a COAL attitude. Okay, cool. Cool, will just remove O and put A there. So what is my COAL attitude? My COAL attitude is, let me be curious about myself. I want to know myself each and every day basis. Have I become better than yesterday? Okay. What is O? I am open to all kinds of conversation, but I'm not going to take it to heart. I'm open to growth. I'm open to criticism, but it will be positively taken. Okay. What is A? Let me accept. Let me not be in denial. Because if I will accept, I will move on. If I'll be in denial, I'll just keep ruminating around it. Okay. And the last is loving. So if I'm loving towards my own life, towards my own self, then I will definitely start building self-worth. And people who love themselves are loved by others. That is the key to everything. So we've done the ABC model also, how to build self-worth. But now let's know, when we have built it, and as I said, it's very fragile. It can break in no time. So how should we maintain the self-worth that we have built? How can we just increase it in terms of value? So when I love me, the first and foremost thing is I love me. I love myself. So it's not only the first, but the last also, because you have to constantly, because you're the person you have to live with till the end. Okay. So how can you not like yourself? How can you not like your own company? The second is, please tell yourself that you don't need an algorithm to feel loved. Like if my Facebook post is not only 2 likes, it is not this that only 2 people in the whole wide world like me. I mean, it is not what I will depend on. Okay. So I'm not going to let myself be affected by algorithms. This is my personal favorite. There is one for everyone. One special friend. And I really liked that ad. Ma'am, have you seen that Airtel ad? It says, har mausam ke liye ek dost hota hai. You know
Yes.
that? How beautiful.
I believe I have. Yes.
So find the person who will actually make you jumpstart your life, not pull you down. So you could be having one person who will give you hearing when you don't need preaching. There will be another friend who will say, hey, come on, let's meet over a cup of coffee for some time, drop everything, and let's get some perspective. So we have to find that person and stay connected with that person, because then that person is going to help us not formulate bad opinions about our own self. Very important.
And that we call the support system. It could be your family, it could be a friend, a shoulder that you can lean on, and you can cry your heart out without being judged. All of us need to have at least one such person in our lives.
Absolutely, totally. And then we need to visualize a radio of self-worth in our rooms. Everybody has a radio of self-worth, which we can tune in into the morning on a nice FM station, which only gives out nice, encouraging feedback for you, which is you are raising the positive thoughts. You're becoming the Pooh, the Kareena Kapoor that I love myself, मैं अपनी favorite हूँ. So every morning when you tune into the radio of your self-worth, you can say, well, I am capable of handling this task that I have procrastinated for so long, so I will do it. So you're raising the volume of what you can handle and do, and that is going to build your self-worth because you believe in your own self. And when we are doing all this, self-worth, self-esteem, they multiply, they magnify when we include people in our surroundings. So if we just encourage one person in our life, just tell them that one good thing that you see in them, but tell them only when you mean it, not just to sugarcoat and give it to them. When you mean it, they will know that how you're making them feel. So when you will be able to identify somebody else's quality, like how right now, Nandini ma'am, I want to tell you that you are a very deep person, a very perceptive person, that you allowed that boy to feel special by giving your 40 minutes. Okay. And if I'm telling you this, you will go back home feeling so good that you made a difference in somebody's life, right? And that is what is important and needed, because this time after the pandemic is a time of collaboration. We cannot survive alone. We need to survive in a social context together. So that is very, very important. So building social bonds is very important. Last but not the least, we have to be grateful. Attitude of gratitude. We have to say thank you. Thank you multiplies our blessings. Thank you is that one thing that lets the other person get more encouraged to do something. Thank you is also an act that can. Thank you actually is a word that has saved many our lives, that has built many they say fortunes. So any person who gives thank you to you is giving a piece of their thoughts to you. So we should be very grateful in accepting a thank you and giving it back in return. Now, some helpful coping emotions, because we let emotions get into our body, and how can we figure them in our body, and how can we say, okay, fine, am I choosing a wrong emotion or am I choosing a right emotion? So that is very important. So let us see how we can see these 7 helpful emotions. The first is, we will have to appreciate our reality. It is very, very important to know that, okay, I may be in a family who's lost people, and my mother and my father or everybody around me are struggling because of this transition. Okay, I may be the person who's lost a job and I'm the breadwinner, and I have to now somehow get going and start earning for my family. We could still, it's very difficult, but we could accept the reality that, okay, this is it, without attaching the good and the bad to it. This is how it is. Now it will only get better, because if we attach it is bad, it will only get worse. So appreciate what it is and only strive to make it better. That is one very important coping emotion. With that comes the second emotion, that do I really know my limits? I mean, I can be struggling with organizing. I could be struggling with putting my thoughts in perspective. I could be struggling with endurance, because after a point I may break down, and if I break down, then I will take days to come out of it, because I know my limit. I know if I will stretch it beyond this, then I will break and be unavailable for a few days. So why reach that limit? If I know my limit, I will try and take care of myself before reaching the snapping point. Let me not snap. If I know my limit, I will be protected. So let me figure out my limits for all the things I'm currently dealing with, currently struggling with. It's a very, very good exercise to do, because then you will figure out the person who will be helping you not reach your limit and snap. Okay. Then the third is prioritize self-care. It's very important. I am becoming lazy, so I should start with my walk. If I'm not drinking enough water because it is winters, then I should better be hydrated, because that will keep my focus intact. Some self-prioritize self-care regimen and routine is very, very important. And eating healthy nutrition is a great way to change your mood, because if you are hangry, clearly shows that you're hungry and you're angry, right? So it's so important to prioritize that self-care, that let me not go without my meals for 10 hours, because I'll clearly be in an angry zone then. So this is very important from the perspective of focus, calmness, mindfulness. It's very important to prioritize self-care. Then for the things that we cannot handle, for the things that you don't want to reside in your memory, you can choose to put them down on paper. So any emotion which is very hard for us to deal with, we can say, okay, I will journal my emotion. I will write it down on a piece of paper or in a diary. So for example, today, my neighbor looked at me in a certain way. I don't want to carry it for the rest of the day. I'll put it down in my journal. Today, my friend, who's my best friend, didn't give me the kind of response I was seeking. And I'm upset, like how ma'am you started out with. Okay, I will put it in the journal and I will later come back to it when I have the means to handle it. This is my ultimate favorite, ma'am. We will look at it in a nice way. Make a list of what you can and cannot control. It really helps. It really helps in coping with emotions. So we'll see it in the next slide. And then, of course, we have to ask out loudly for help. It's like visualize yourself with a loudspeaker and saying, hey, hello, I need you. Please help me. Take some time out for me because I believe that you will be able to pull me out. So let's see what are the things I can control and I cannot control. Okay. So if I know I can control my choices, I can control my anger, my jealousy. Of course, I can control my jealousy because I should just not compare. Then I can control my attitude also. I can control how I treat myself with love, with care, with kindness. I can also control how I treat others with compassion, with belief, by trusting in them. I also can control not isolating myself. And I can control when I want to ask for help. Now, what I cannot control, I should not be fixated about that. Okay, so what I can't control is the past. The water under the bridge doesn't flow again. I can't control my past. I cannot change it. So I will not ruminate about it. I can't control what mistakes people make. I can't control. The pandemic, people not wearing masks, not taking vaccination, not in my control. I can't make that my drawing room conversation and continue harping on it. Opinions of others, well, that is something totally out of my control. They have their own ways of talking about it. And how others behave, their response is not my doing. Their response is their doing. And their choice is theirs. It is not mine. Their thoughts are theirs. And their response is there. So clearly, when I can't control the way others behave, why should I really beat myself for their behavior, for their thinking, for their actions, and for their attitudes towards, because that is something which I cannot control. So let us make a list, individualized list around what I can control and what I cannot control. And that's when we will see that it'll really help. And if you can see, then there are so many more things that you can probably control. So whatever you resonate with over here, that how truthful and honest I am, or I should be, how much effort I put forth, this is totally under your control. And you can decide and increase the effort that you will put into your tasks everyday basis. So this is one of the things. If you want to take a screenshot, you can. It's a very good thing to have. Now, we have stopped the self-worth from eroding. We have learned how to build it. We have learned how to maintain it. Now let's see how to increase it. Okay. So how do we increase self-worth? The first and the foremost is, let us use the direct power of emotions towards a specific and purposeful action. So for example, I'm feeling sad. Therefore, I choose to feel happy, right? So I am feeling, and it could be if you're feeling very sad, then you could choose to feel less sad. It's also growth. Okay. I'm feeling angry with X. It could be my friend, my mother, my father, my sister. Therefore, I choose to feel calm and logical to assess why am I feeling like that. Let me assess its truth, its validity. I'm feeling not good enough today. Okay. So therefore, I choose to feel good about myself by writing down just 3 things about myself that are actually good, so I can start feeling good about myself. And then we can actually start our day by asking the following questions. What kind of future do I envision for myself? Let us ask this on 1 day basis, okay? That maybe for today, if I am, if there is a task that I have been keeping as a bullet point on my head, let me at least just go and open that and write a few lines under that. So my future that I envision for myself is that I'm going and attending that task. What kind of self am I trying to develop? This is again 100% in our control. A self that is trying, a self that wants to accomplish, or a self that is very demotivated and complacent. What is the kind of self I'm trying to develop? And what do I want to accomplish in my life? It could be for self and for others. We can look into this particular part from 2 perspectives. So when we ask these questions, then we can energize our day. How can we do that? We can energize by actually painting that vision in our heart as specifically as possible, because that design, that painting becomes the design of your future. And then your heart, because it has such a powerful energy and intention to create that painting for you, that it will actually make it a masterpiece for your life. So if I want to say this, ma'am, if, for example, if we are having students who do not think that they can get into a good college, okay? So for them, the kind of future they should envision is that they should believe in their self-worth and say, I can pass out or graduate from a good college. What is the kind of self am I trying to develop? A complete, holistically groomed self by going to a college like KR Mangalam University, where all my faculties will be taken care of, and I will become somebody who's not self-sabotaging, but is becoming constructive in approach. And then what will I want to accomplish? To become a good citizen of this world and to make others powerful and encouraging by showing my own example of what I was and what I have become. So the student's reality will be to tide over all the ifs and to start a journey on what is or what can be. So when we discard if and we accept what can be and see the possibilities, then we can actually start painting that lovely journey. So ma'am, before I actually, these are my favorite quotations, which can, be put up somewhere in our room, in our phone as our screenshot, because your value doesn't decrease based on someone's inability to see your worth. It is something that we should actually etch in our hearts. And the second is that we should not be very harsh with ourselves. So self-forgiveness is very crucial, because it is actually a part of recovery. When you forgive yourself for something that has gone wrong, if you really forgive yourself, then it allows you to be free. And it doesn't cage you. It doesn't keep you as feeling guilty for what has happened, because it was not in your control. So these 2 thoughts can really release all our resentments or our negativities or our limitations that we have for our own selves. And based on that, we will be able to cover a long journey. So I'm letting everybody go on this lovely journey by saying, today I refuse to stress myself out over things I cannot control or change. And thank you so much. I can say that it's so nice to be doing this. If there are any questions, we would be happy to have.
Ma'am, I have one question, right? The question is this, that we talked about understanding our limits, right? And not stretching lest we snap out and all that, right? Sometimes what happens is that we underestimate ourselves, and this limit level, whatever I have put, is I can go beyond that, right? So how to really, understand this, putting the limit and all, because this may, rather sometime make me feel undervalue myself or underestimate my worth itself.
Wow. So that's a great question. So putting the limit can be looked at from two perspectives. One is when we do not completely understand our potential and we say, well, this is my top limit. This is the cap I'm putting. I can get 80% only. So that's where I have put my limit from the perspective of achieving something and going all out to get it by capping my potential. But as you very rightly asked, that how do I go beyond it? So when I say in my heart and mind, by knowing my limitation and by knowing that what is the maximum I can stretch, because if I have to secure a 90% to get into a college and I put in more labor, then I am stretching that limit of going into that zone which I thought initially I could not achieve. So I am constantly challenging myself, and I am trying to see with every little step that is this what I have thought about myself which is coming true, or there is more to it. And when we take five steps ahead and 5 minutes of self grooming everyday basis, then we can see that there is no wall, that there is a vast expanse, because there is actually no limit to one's potential, because the potential is amazing and vast, and we just need to it is like turned inside out. We just need to give it the right flip, and we can say, oh my god, I had fears, now I've overcome my fears. I had a thought around my knowledge, but I have built on it. So I have complete control over a presentation because I have built my knowledge. So I can, in one lifetime, handle all my fears by expanding my life state. I can handle all my abilities by building skill sets on them. So I am again expanding my limits. I can, in the second sense, know my limits of not being able to handle something, where that loudspeaker concept of mine, that where you know that, then don't try yourself there, because there you clearly need somebody. So you reach out for help by saying, hey, now here is where I need you. Here is where I would be happy if you come and support me. So I hope with that perspective in mind, we can say that let me make a list of my limitations on a scale of 0 to 10 as to where I currently stand. So this is my current state. And then let me see how I'm adding percentages to it and making it grow. So somebody who can't drive and has learned driving has clearly expanded the limit, right? Yeah, so that is how we can look at our limitations and our limits that we only set for ourselves, right? So there was a time some years ago, I was not confident at all to speak on social media. So I have clearly challenged my limits to speak. So that is how growth has happened, and growth happens. So have I answered your question, sir?
Well, thank you so much. And that gives me an understanding very clearly that transition is a period where you will feel whether you are worth or not. So if you challenge, your limits can also, continue to grow, right? Means that you are growing and your limits are going down and down and down. So that's what exactly is the process of enhancing one's self-worth. So thank you so much. It was so wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. So
thank you so much, Monaa ma'am. Yes, and we are getting good responses from our audience also, who seems to have gained a lot of perspective on how to deal with transitions in their life. One thing you said that I like very much, that there are things in your life that you can control. Of course, there are many things in our lives that we cannot control, but luckily among them is a thing that we control, is that which university we can choose to study. So arts is a wonderful university, a brilliant university, Mangalam University, and to give a short presentation on our university to our audience today, I have here with me Dr. Abhijit ma'am. So over to you, ma'am. Please take us through this beautiful journey of our university.
Abhijit ma'am, you're not audible.
Is it okay now?
Yes.
You are audible, but you can't see the screen.
Okay, all right. So thank you so much, Monaa ma'am, for sharing such a wonderful thoughts that, how to, even at this time in the COVID times also, how to realize our inner strengths and how to understand ourselves. So at our university, I would say, that we actually make our students realize that what kind of a strengths or what the inner potentialities every student has, because so many projects, so many clubs, so many societies are going on in the university where the student can enroll themselves, they can take part active, they can be an active participants in all these kind of the rhetoric clubs and MUN clubs, where they can realize that what is my inner strength. They can try to listen to their own inner drumbeat, that what exactly I am here for, what I am good at, because the kind of the environment that we are providing to the students, that is like altogether, a very different kind of an environment where a mentor, mentees, they're in so much exciting, the new things according to the new education policy and new pedagogies are there at university. So just to take you all to a small virtual tour, I would just like to share my screen and take you to the virtual tour of the university. Though we are open and visit us, but if not possible, then you can definitely enjoy a small virtual tour of our university. Yeah. So this was a small presentation from my side, and yeah. So this was a small presentation where I have taken you all to a virtual tour of the university and just get a flavor of the higher education, that what kind of a higher education is, and why everybody says that college life is so exciting, because so much of fun, academics, and projects and activities, clubs, societies are there, and believe me that that even the education. The academia part is also not only confined to the books or to the classrooms, but education extends outside the classroom, beyond the classroom, interacting with people and, doing understanding their problems, making yourself very contented and sensitized towards the society, and doing the research on their problems, collaborating with the organizations, and developing your own network. And so this is like that makes a college life so exciting. Again, I would like to share a small presentation with you, again take you to the college life of K.R. Mangalam University. And we are basically, K.R. Mangalam University is situated in Gurugram, Sona Road, with 26 acres lush green campus, and the logo itself states, empower the youth and you are empowering the nation. So this is what the main theme of K.R. Mangalam University is, that as far as possible, enable the young generation. The more and more you enable them, the more beautified, the more cultured, the more stronger your nation will be. And then now with the kind of the faculties that are associated, international, national faculties around the, crossing all the boundaries, the advisory board of members, they all are connected for whom? Only for the students. And just to, acquaint them with all the latest concepts of the education, with all the latest concepts. And, students also, coming from around the world, around India, that is with all the hostel facilities and Delhi NCR, all the air-conditioned buses, and for the congenial environment, the buildings are also so well infrastructured, just only and only to make the education, giving education a new face for the students. And the kind of the courses that the universities are offering nowadays, like us, is like, apart from the contemporary courses of BTech and civil, mechanical and all, the focus has changed. Now the focus is on the industry academia programs, where the collaborative, where the universities have collaborated with Symmetrics and IBM. And K.R. Mangalam is the only one university in the North India who has collaborated with such big giants of the industry, like Symmetrics is there, IBM is there, and Siemens is there, their national stock exchanges there in different courses, Dr. Shroff is there, Medanta Hospital is there. And the only benefit when you look for these industry academia programs is that you get a chance to work on their softwares, work on their working patterns, get to chance to interact with their CFOs, CPOs, CMOs. So, and the people are coming from the corporates and teaching to you in the classrooms, taking you to the work, taking you to the tours of the companies, of the industries, and having a lot of case studies, discussions, presentations. And above than that, you get a chance to have a certificates also, right, which are worldwide recognized, and that makes you give a competitive edge in the market. That makes you different from the others, and that makes you stand first in the queue of the once you look for the placements and all. So moving on to the collaborations that we have made till now is like LinkedIn Learning. Like 15,000 plus courses are there are available on LinkedIn Learning. And LinkedIn is a professional platform where all the the professionals are there, and the recruitment, the jobs, the whatever the latest innovations are happening in the market, latest concepts, new concepts are coming in the market, they all are there on the LinkedIn. And it is not that we are charging something else, something from the students, but it is just an anxiety of the student to do as many as courses from the LinkedIn and get the certificates from there, again, which are worldwide recognized. And you never know that, how strong the network you build up, and how it will be useful to you tomorrow when you look for the placements and you look for the jobs. Then the kind of the collaboration again we have with E-Yantra Robotics Lab, that is with IIT Bombay, and the premium institutes also that we have collaborated with, so that the professors from IIT Bombay, they can look into our students, what kind of a new innovation, small inventions that the students are doing. If a students are working on the robotics, they are working on drones, they are working on 3D printers. So that makes students stand apart or different in the crowd. Then the professors that are associated is like, as I've already mentioned, from Delhi University of Delhi, University of this Copenhagen Business School. Then we have Mr. Chandrahas Chaudhary. Then we have Professor Anita Sharma from Delhi University, Professor Jack Copeland. So this is all, just to give the students an information that makes them, with the stand apart. And the teaching pedagogy is, again, it is all project-based learning. That rather than just getting into the books, the more and more you practice, the more and more you make the things implement in the practical world, you learn better. So pedagogy is also something which is a very different, and the kind of the international collaborations that we have with Middlesex University, University of Florida, University of Houston, and you can design your international education in the way that you can have 1 year in India, 2 years in abroad, or 2 years in abroad, 1 year in India for the non-technical. For the technical, again, you can have in the 1 year in India, 3 years in abroad, or 2:1, 2:2, whatever. So depending upon your financials and depending upon your interest, you can develop, you can have degrees and the certificates from both the universities, and you can also attend the international summer schools, like 15 days, one month summer school you can attend. And already you can see in the pics, students have gone to this University of Bristol. Then Hampton University students have already visited, and the student exchange program is there, faculty exchange program is there. So these all things makes the university stand on the top. And this is how the students also develop 360-degree kind of a development is there in the students. Then talking about the placements, what is most important is like highest package 24 lakh per annum. And when the skills are excellent, when all the innovative skills are there in the students, they can obviously companies they do look for the good students. So the top recruiters are like Paytm, KPMG, India Bulls, Medanta, and the list is not only confined to here, but we have many more in our bucket. That is Genpact is there, Paytm is there, then Bhim Singh and companies here. So from every industry, we have collaborations with the companies, and not only the collaboration, the alumni serves as the biggest source of the recruitment for the students, since the university is going on in its almost 9th year. So we have already had such a huge alumni, and the students are well placed in their respective organizations. And that alumni day is also celebrated in the university, and I think that serves as a biggest recruitment source for any university. When the students are good, automatically placement is no difficulty at that time. And looking into the admission process, definitely you can, we have a psychometric analysis, as I mentioned, that, give some time to yourself, listen to your inner drumbeat, understand your self-worth. If not possible, no worries. Look for the psychometric analysis form, fill it up, you will get the analysis report on your mail ID. Then you can again sit with our admission counselor, figure out the best course for yourself. You can also you can also speak to our deans and the faculties of a particular course or a department, decide it on, figure it on that what exactly I am looking for, what exactly is the course that is best for me. Fill up the application form, register with us, appear for a small MCQ-based test, and speak to your deans, have an interaction with your deans and faculties. And then again, the admission counselors, they get in touch with you for the further process. Talking about the fee structure is like, not every university is expensive, believe me. It's like a degree program, 110, and a technical program is like 140, non-technical is 110, which ranges to 130 also, as I can see, and for technical, I can see 175 as well. And so that is like, what you have to do bit of your research. First, find out the parameters at what exactly you are looking into the university. Research on that basis and then find the best for you. And pin the university, because for you people, all the admissions are going to be based on the entrance test. So pin the university that gives you a complete information about all the deadlines, about how to fill up the form, what are the deadlines for each and every entrance exam. And QLET is also there as an entrance exam for you all. So pin the university like KR Mangalam, that gives you the complete information for that. And even if those universities are offering nowadays the scholarships also to the students, those who are 100% or 90% above, siblings, sports quota, defense, and if you are from the same KR Mangalam Gold Schools, being such a huge group, having 10 to 12 schools in Delhi NCR. So again, a kind of a special program, financial aid is given to the students from the same. So you just have to do a bit of research, and research according to your parameters, according to the degrees, the universities that are offering the same course, and then decide it on that what exactly I want to do. And so not the less to it. We are just a phone call away. You can call us, you can write to us, you can pin us, and we are just 011 4888 4888 is a phone call. Not today, tomorrow, anytime, even after 6 months or 1 year. If you want to connect with us, take a screenshot of the slide. Anytime you feel like, you can just connect to us. And that is all what I wanted to share. And the most important thing, that we are open. And anytime you feel like visiting our university, we will welcome you for that. And every Saturdays, we keep on, doing such kind of webinars, which are very related to stress and time management and general topics. That makes, eased out for your stress that we are having in our lives today. And anything else that, sir, I need to add to it?
Thank you so much. It is really very comprehensive and crisp way of putting what we stand for. One point I like to say today is that we had a webinar today, and it was all about self-worth. So there are two elements to self-worth, One is the environment which we are surrounded by, and the second is how do we perceive that environment all about, right? So in KR Mangalam, we take care of both. We provide you a very rich environment, an environment which can help you to grow, right? And secondly, we take care of this element, that we do not fall into that vortex of emotions, or we do not fall into that circle where we start thinking, why so many things are changing? Do I deserve it or not? So we make you a lifelong learner. And if you remember the question I had put to the speaker today, and she said very clearly that, of course, there are limits and all that we feel at a certain time, right? But those limits can always be extended. And this is where self-worth plays a role. So in KR Mangalam, we ensure through our programs that we help you to explore your limits, and we help you to extend your limit, right? That is what exactly is our focus. So that is why our motto is empowering youth. All right. So we are here to empower the youth so that they never underestimate themselves, and they are constantly thinking, yes, I can. So we help you to move in this journey from can't to can. So we look forward meeting you again and again in the campus, interacting with us, okay? And I'm sure you will find your stay in KRM a stay which you'll remember throughout your life and will be proudly sharing with others as well, right? So today, I'd like to specially thank, of course, the speaker, Monaa ma'am. And in addition is my special thanks to the moderator, Madam Nandini ma'am, and who made it so interesting and ensured that every bit of what really impacts and all that, and the wonderful case studies which were quoted, right? That was superb. And of course, it goes only when a lot of effort is done at the backstage. So all my thanks to the people who are working at the backstage, who are on the stage, right? Okay, whom you see, and the overall, vision which is being constantly evolved at KRM. So thank you so much, and we look forward meeting you again and again, right? So when I refer to the vision, I was referring to the last but one slide of today, that you have to paint your vision. And once you paint your vision for a day and all that, and continue to work on it, then you can make it a masterpiece. So we look forward to make masterpieces in KR Mangalam. Do visit, and we assure you that whatever may be when you join us, when you leave us, you will be a masterpiece. So once again, thank you very much. Thanks to Nandini ma'am, Abhijit ma'am, and our backend team, and the Monaa ma'am, and of course, all the participants who have joined us today, the attendees. Without that, because there is no teacher without student, and there is no speaker without the audience. Thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you very much.
Thank you all.